Hello everyone, this is YT Master here, back at it again with another Project Destroyer setup slash guide video. This one is for Footsites, and it pains me, but I just recorded this video and the audio didn't save, so it was just me going around the bot showing you guys how to use the bot without saying anything on top of it, which really sucks, but it's okay. We'll just swipe that under the rug and keep going. So, Project Destroyer. It's a really good Footsites bot. A lot of people can't hit with it. I'm hopefully going to show you all how to hit with it. It's quite simple. Footsites, all you need is the SKU. Okay, all you need is the SKU. That's it. Project Destroyer gives the SKU in the Discord, and you just simply take that SKU for the size you want, put it into here. So if the SKU is 00000, that's the SKU you put in there. Simple as that. Size, because we're going for the women's Air Jordan 1 satin snakeskin tomorrow. Random is perfectly fine because every size is profitable. If you need a specific size, like a 7 woman or a 8 woman, just click that size and create the task. But before you create the task, let's go into some profile etiquettes or profile good ways to set up your profile, because Footsites are notorious right now for canceling basically every order that is detected as fraud. Adyen is the new payment processor for Footsites, and its main goal right now is to detect all fraud and cancel those orders. Even though it might not be fraud, which is possibly true because you're botting it, you're just trying to get it for yourself. It's not fraud, you know what's being purchased. They still see it as fraud and they cancel. So we're gonna run through that real quick, how to not get canceled, and hopefully this helps you guys out. So here we are at our profile creator. Let's just use some very generic names. John Smith. That's our name. Let's say it's John Smith. Apartment and address. So how do you jig profiles for Footsites? Question is, or the answer is, you don't. The addresses do not need to be jigged. Emails do not need to be jigged. They say in the Project Destroyer Footsites guide, don't jig, and they're completely right. Jigging only gets you canceled. That's from my own experience. There are some jigs that also work. It's very particular to your location. So let's say your address is 123 Flame Street, right? Some very effective jigs that are some very effective jigs that should work are Flame ST period, which is street, and then you can do STRT, which is street as well, but an abbreviation. So it just depends on your location, as I said. So let's say you're John Smith, you live on 123 Flame Street, you live in Houston, and here's your zip code, I don't know, 7702. Here's your this is basically your address, essentially. If you live in an apartment, put that there. If you don't put it there because it will just get you canceled. Do not jig address. This does not work for Footsites, as I said. Name on card, very specific. This is fairly simple. John Smith or whatever name's on the card. Number. The date, some random numbers, CVC. You can limit the count of checkouts, but I'll go on to later on why it's not really necessary, because you only really need to run one profile to one task. That's it. So one checkout per site, you can put that on, and that could help you a lot. I don't personally put it on because I follow the rule. Profile title, we'll just call it test because that's what this is, just a test. Ordered email. Now this is very important. If your name is John Smith, then the email should also be John Smith. John Smith. It should have the same details, or it should hint to your name. That will hopefully bypass the processor. So johnsmith@gmail.com. From my experience, catch-alls also work very well, but they need to be good catch-alls. So no .nets or .clubs, only .coms. And make them sound professional. You want to do like YouTube LLC or some random thing like that, but make sure your catch-all seems very professional if you're going to use one. If it's not, they might actually cancel. So We'll just go with this. This is a perfect world. Let's say your name is John Smith and your email is johnsmith@gmail.com. Phone number. Now this also is very important. Phone number is based off of your location of your address. So if your address is in Houston, and Houston has very specific area codes. Everywhere has an area code for their phone number. Houston's area codes are 832 or 258. Sorry, 832 or 281. Sorry about that. 832. Let's just use 832 for this example. And then the following digits after the area code can be completely random. It does not matter. So we can do 69696969. I think that's enough, right? 3. No, extra off. There we go. So 83269696969, and that's our profile basically. And same shipping and billing. If that's your case, put it. If it's a different case, then change it. But in my case, I just do this like that, and we're gonna say the profile is test. All right, let's go to the new castration. Now, as I said earlier, just put your SKU in there, and make sure you have SKU selected, not URL. Make sure you don't have to put a 1 here. I put it there just in case. Restock mode is broken. Do not use it currently from this day, which is we are on the Wednesday of August 2020. It is broken, so do not use it. The task won't pick up basically. So before we go into the actual making of the task, let's talk about proxies very, very quickly. Proxies are very special, okay? Let's get this right. Proxies for Footsites are basically what makes or breaks you. There's a lot of really good providers. There's a lot of providers that seem very good. There's a lot of providers that seem very good but aren't good at all. So you're just gonna have to keep trying and finding your provider. My providers that I use, I'm not gonna be sharing them today. I'll be sharing them at a later date. But currently, I can say that there's one provider that I use called Hollow. It is a closed private provider. If you manage to get into the closed providers, that's very good. That means that those providers are smart. They are closing their subnets off, and they are not allowing random people, to just come in and buy their proxies and abuse them. So for Footsites, you can easily flag IPs, which will affect you while checking out. And if you get your IP flagged, it will make it, or not even IP, the subnet. If your subnet gets flagged, it will not be a help for you to check out. Basically, it will not help at all. So some providers that I see a lot of people use nowadays seem very, very decent. Notify, I see a lot of success. Oculus, I hear is pretty good. Leaf as well. You know, those very generic providers, everyone uses them. I'm not gonna be going into, as I said, I'm not gonna be going into the providers I use. I just use Hollow. That's one of them I can tell you right now. So I like to put all my proxies in global pool. It does not matter if you put them in global or a list. If you make a list, just make sure you name it the correct name for that site and that release to not make you confused. If you put your proxies in a list, they will not show up here on the active proxies right here. They will actually not show up here at all. They will be in the group, but they won't show up there. If you put them in the global list though, they will show up. Proxies only in global list show up there, and this is your active task, this is your proxy to task ratio. So let's go ahead and make our task. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. Here's our test profile. This is test profile, and let's make some tasks. Now this is not the exact case that you would do. I made just 20 random tasks on one profile. It is always better to use. Sorry about that. I use random because all sizes are profitable. It is always recommended to use only one profile per task. If you only have 8 tasks, or so if you only have 8 profiles, sorry about that, you only need 8 tasks. That's all you can do, because you will get canceled if you run more. Obviously, you can run 16 tasks. You can use those profiles twice, but the second one of those checks out, delete the other profile task. Because if that one goes through, it runs the risk of getting both of them canceled, or you'll get card empty, which wastes cookies and wastes proxy data and time, basically. Some things that are very, very important for a project story that you should know now with Footlocker, well, Footsites in general, so Footsites are Footlocker, Champs, East Bay, Foot Action. You do not need cookies for the initial release. They will cover you, but I think you only get around 7,000 cookies for the initial release, which is not too good. So make sure you have some cookies backed up. And if you run only one task per profile and you only have 30 profiles or so, you should not be running into any problems either. So let's just review a couple things before we go on. PD provides cookies for the initial drop. If you plan to run a large amount of tasks for a certain site or run restocks, cookies need to be made pre-drop. Cookies can remain good or valid for up to 180 days, and they can be reused. This was the big loop everyone was hopefully talking about, or in your cook group, back with when PDs needed cookies. You can reuse cookies as many times as you want, or not reuse as many times. Just I use my list at least once if I need to. Cookies made within 24 hours of the release will always be more reliable than the other cookies. That's just a fact. And let's go into delays and start times. Yeah. So start times, you want to start your tasks for Footsite releases 15 to 30 minutes before they drop, with delays that are higher than what you would usually run. In PD Discord, they recommend 2,000 to 5,000. I go higher. I put mine somewhere along the lines of actually 10,000. 10,000, 10,000. Sometimes I put even higher, 12,000. This just saves data. If you don't have ISPs or DCs, this saves data. So you have 10,000, 10,000, and as I get closer to the drop, every 2 to 3 minutes, I drop them about 1,000 or 7,500. So the next time I'll drop them will be like 9,000, 9,000, and then 2 minutes later go by, I'll drop them down to 8,000, 8,000, so on and so forth. Once it starts to get close to the drop time, I like to just drop them to my own delay. And a lot of people use different delays. With the new Addian processor, it's better to make your tasks look as human as possible. So a lot of people have been running higher delays around 4,500, which also works. I have checked out on this many times. But I personally like to use 3,800 at this point. This is what I usually use now. Saves data and makes your task look like a human, basically. So whenever you start tasks, you're going to see them either for the release, you're going to see them on the log right here. They're going to have a number. If they don't have a number and they're on getting session, or they're just kind of monitoring, that means either your SKUs are bad, or size on the SKU is incorrect, or your proxies are bad. In the case that your proxies are bad or banned, you can always find a different provider before the release, or you can find that provider during the release, which is really, really hard, but always helps. In the case that your provider's bad, you can run localhost all the time. Just make sure you don't, throttle or ban your localhost, or your task will do nothing. So if you choose to run localhost, the way you do that is by having no proxies in any group that you're using. So let's say I want these 3 tasks to use localhost, and let's go to my proxies list right here. I actually do have a profile called localhost, and as you can see in localhost profile, there's no proxies in there, and that's for a reason, because if there's no proxies in a profile, that means in a group, that means that there will be that group will be ran on localhost. So we'll go back to dash here, edit, and then we can just hit this to localhost, and if we go back on here, it's on localhost. One thing a lot of new users actually mess up on is having expert mode on. Make sure you turn that off. It just helps, saves time, and cuts out a way of getting canceled, or cuts out like a big time waste. Basically, you don't really need to worry about delays as long as you just have it like this. And then what else? So as I said, do not use JIG addresses or .tricks for your emails. One thing that a lot of people are very confused about: Footsites, Footlocker, Eastbay, Champs, Footaction do not need a CAPTCHA. They do not need CAPTCHA. So you don't need this thing. You don't need this thing, and you don't need this thing. These are all 3 different captcha solvers. They are all the same captcha. You do not need them at all. And they also do not provide any questions, so you don't need a question solver open at all either. Basically, it's just for PD, it's just the task, your proxies, and your profiles. That's it. No extra stuff. It's quite simple, actually. So back to some things you should know. Run a 1 proxy to 1 task ratio minimum. I like to run put about 20 more proxies in my ratio than I actually need. That's just because some tasks might pick up a bad proxy, and if you don't know already, PD does choose from a random list of proxies. So just go ahead and when I say random list of proxies, the list that you tell it to choose from, it chooses a proxy from that list, but randomly. So if you have in order 15 Oculus proxies, 15 notified proxies, and 15 hollow proxies, it might choose the hollow proxies first, and then the notify, and then the Oculus, and vice versa, and randomly, basically, what I'm trying to say. So make sure you have a couple more proxies in task, so whenever your task does start to act funny, a task, it doesn't matter whatever task it is, if it starts to act funny, if you see it's just monitoring, or it's stuck on getting session, or it's just not doing anything, you can just delete that task, go down to the bottom, and just duplicate it and make another one and just run that task. Once you duplicate it like this, it will choose another proxy from that list, and you should be fine. Yeah, so 1 to 1 proxy to task ratio. You can go a little over on the proxies, as I said. 1 to 1 proxy to, sorry about that. So 1 to 1 proxy to profile ratio. Because with the new Vadian processor, it's been messing up a lot of things. And 1 to 1 proxy to profile is basically the same as saying 1 to 1 profile to task. So we'll just say profile to task because that makes it a lot more easier. So, I would never do this in the drop. I would never use test 20 times. If I would do this, it would be test 1, the next task would be test 2, the next task would be test 3, and all these tasks have different addresses, different emails, different numbers, names, everything's unique. And that's the whole point of this. Everything wants to be, they want you to have everything unique and real, unique, unfrauded stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's quite easy. So we covered delays, we covered task creation, we covered profiles and proxies, and that's it. It's quite easy. Hope everyone has a nice cookout on these women Air Jordan 1s, satin snakeskins. They are going to be limited, so don't expect to hit too many. Expect to hit maybe 3 or 4. And yeah, listen to this video, read the Project Destroyer guides, and make sure you use the right SKUs and sizes, and you should do fine. Thank you everyone for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe and comment and tell me how you thought of the video. I see a lot of people who want these videos, and I see a lot of people who really like them and they need them, and I get a lot of people who reach out to me on my Discord, which my Discord is massacre #2640. Reach out to me if you need anything. I can help you out, and let's just get this bread. Yeah, thank you guys.